And I'm going to start the webinar to let people in.
Closed caption.
And I'm going to select closed captions. I'm learning, folks. I am learning.
Ooh, come on, Misha. Look at you.
I know.
Come on.
So we will, everybody on Facebook, hello. This is our monthly webinar. We're so happy to have you with a special dear friend and guest. And those of you who are jumping in right now, hello. We will be saying hello to first names. So hi, Jeff. Welcome back. Hello, Desiree. Welcome back. We just don't say your last names. Welcome. And Mike.
You just called my name. I think I heard you call my name.
I did.
Misha,
I'm going to call your
Jody.
first and last name, Mike.
Hey, there you go. There you go. That's the name.
Hello to Desiree. Those are you that are joining us here in the webinar. Please use the chat feature to chat to everyone, not just hosts and panelists, and let everyone know where you are zooming in from. You know, it was Scotty beam me up, but now it's like, hello, zoom me in. And we're like really glad to have everybody. We've got high energy because Mike has high energy, and we so glad to be here. Desiree, thank you. I'm so glad you're here with us. And if you're on Facebook, definitely put in the comments where you're Facebooking in from. It's new terminology here. And we'll get
Sounds good.
In a couple minutes as people kind of fly in from wherever they are. If you've never been here before, super excited, glad to be here watching from Los Angeles. Yay. And so now we have a Desiree and we have a Desiree.
We got a Desiree and a Desiree.
I know, right? We got Desirees in the house.
What's up, Desiree? Desiree.
Representing, that's right.
The best, yeah.
I guess we can't argue with that because there's not two Mikes, two Mishas, or two Jodys yet, so we can't argue with that.
That's right, yeah.
All right, the Jodys, come on out and watch.
Where are the Mikes?
Well, because that's because we're gonna have a mic drop.
Oh, come
we're
on.
Not dropping you though. No, we
Don't drop me.
We've
Ouch.
had enough injuries.
Ouch.
You had too many injuries.
Well, we both
You and I both. You and I
of
both
them
had
do.
enough.
You know about the
Mike
injuries.
has a story. All right.
Oh,
Doesn't
we
matter.
ain't dropping
You
either
can
of
tell her not
us
to. Yeah.
at all.
Hi, Connie. Welcome. Go
Welcome.
ahead and share where you're zooming in from in the chat to everyone. One of the Desirees that are here, we're in a book club with, and we just love it when she shows up each month. And we got to see her yesterday on Zoom, so that was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a really great book club. We're reading, well, I didn't get very far, but that's the nature of the book club because we are good people that love each other. Yep, we're reading The Souls of Black Folks by
Ooh, WEB. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, so.
Ontario.
Hi, Gab. All right.
From
Ontario.
Ontario.
Very
Excellent.
cool. Very cool. Yes, of course. We love you, Desiree.
Well, I got to shout out the other Desiree. That's my
And
friend.
Oh, that's
Awesome.
your friend.
Yeah, that's my friend, and she is awesome. She's in everything. She does a lot, so I'm just excited. Like I said, I sent it out to some people. So yeah, so shouting out to the other Desiree and Jeff because he's in Ontario. That's dope in and of itself. You know.
And welcome, Alejandra, and we have Connie.
Oh yeah, Alejandra, please share where you're zooming in from. We're excited to have you. And just kind of before we get started, we just want you all to know this conversation is live streamed onto my public Facebook page, and then we'll post the replay on YouTube. But then at the end, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 Eastern, and wherever else everybody is, we will stop the live stream, we'll stop the recording, and we invite any of you who would like to come onto the screen with Mike and Jody and I just to have casual conversation. It's not recorded, it's not, nobody ever sees it. We can say whatever we want, although we do say whatever we want here anyways. But y'all get to join us if you wish to at the end. All you'll have to do is raise your virtual hand and we'll promote you to panelist so that you can be on here with us. So something to think about.
And we've had lovely after webinar conversations.
It's
so we
been
hope
really
you do
nice.
join and come on for a little bit. And
All right.
Sometimes the best conversations, right? When the event is over and you're just lingering around, and you're walking out to your car and it's like, we've been standing here for 45 minutes. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll see y'all later. Sometimes that's the best conversations.
Absolutely.
So are you ready, Mike? We're gonna get started.
If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. Let's do it.
All right.
I'm ready.
Lovely.
All right.
I got my notebook. Ready. I'm always open to learning as well and growing. I tell people when you stop learning and growing, you die. So I'm always open to learning and growing. So I always have my notebook ready because I'm sure I may pick up on something or get a divine download that I wasn't open to previously. So I'm ready.
Well, and I'm going to twist it. I've done a lot of learning and during the pandemic, a lot of growing. So I just lost 4 pounds and I'm really happy about that. Different
Let's
kind of
go.
growing.
Let's go.
All right. So go ahead.
Yeah, welcome everyone. We're just so delighted to have everyone here and have Mike here to our monthly webinar for a candid conversation on systemic racism. To begin with, we just want to do a reminder that all land is Indigenous land. Our hope is that people really think about that anytime you are going for a walk, going for a run. I know I started thinking about it because it can be so easy just to take that for granted regarding the land that we have our houses on, or we walk on, our apartments live, etc. So
And we are currently occupying the Karkanaloni land. And so if you don't know what land you're occupying, you can look that up on an Indigenous map. And it's helpful to know so you can be aware of who was here before you.
And we also welcome everyone here, all races, all genders, all cultures, abilities, sexual orientations. All people are valued here, heard here, accepted, and welcomed. And we're so delighted. And also, you know, a lot can come up in these conversations, and what we create here is a safe space. It's never going to be comfortable because we're talking about uncomfortable stuff. And hard things, but it's safe as far as being respectful to everyone here and the voices here. And also this is a time, the webinar was created for Black, Indigenous, people of color to be heard and valued and for them to share their experiences. So the webinar is not created to debate with their experiences. Those are their experiences. Those are their lived experiences. We're here to hear and to be open and to learn from one another and be connected, because our society, we're so disconnected anymore. And we continue to erase people, erase histories. And the goal here is that we're not doing that, and really to hear. And you can, if you're audience members, you can put questions in the chat. You can give love up in the chat for Mike. If you're given a question, please know that Mike gets to decide whether Mike wants to answer those questions or not. It's his time here to share what's on his heart, mind, and soul regarding his experiences with systemic racism. And later on, he's also going to tell us about his business. So we're really excited about that.
Because he's good at what he does.
What did I?
Oh, stop it.
Oh, you're blushing. I know.
you know we're empaths. Don't make me cry this early. We haven't got started yet.
I would hand you a Kleenex, but I already used the last one. I love you. I love you so much.
Did I miss anything?
The only thing, I mean, Jody basically mentioned this is not the debate society. The people who are attending, whether you're on Facebook or replay on YouTube, are here. We're here to support. We're here to love. And so we move and advance in the universe a lot better when we're loving each other up. And so if Mike shares about an experience he's had or a feeling he's had, it's really just for us to hold space to let him have whatever he decides to talk about. And he may try, but anyways, the whole idea is that really we can't agree or disagree with feelings and experiences. Okay, these are Mike's, these are ours, these are yours, whoever's watching, you know, and to know that sometimes in these webinars, there are conversations that happen or topics that come up where they're triggering, right? And so if we can all remember that our painful feelings, our uncomfortable feelings, our joyful feelings, they're all temporary, right? We're going to move through them. So allow yourself to feel what you're feeling, kind of tap into what is this? Where is this in my body? And if you feel like you want to express in the chat, you know, I'm scared or I'm sad, I'm angry, feel free to join us in that, because we all have feelings. It's totally normal. And the last thing I'll say is we all have biases. We all have biases. Okay. And we just have to accept the fact that we have biases. Now, does that mean now that we've accepted it, it's an excuse to keep having biases? No. Once you become aware of your bias, you get to work on that. Right. And that's the uncomfortable part. Okay. So we're delighted to have all of you here. Thank you for joining us. And you want to,
Yeah.
did you want to read the purpose of the, we kind of gave the purpose, but go ahead.
Yeah, just quickly, Misha really created the webinar, and I was fortunate enough that she asked me to join her after I had gotten started. And it was created to engage in honest and authentic conversations about the longtime injustice of racism in America. During the webinars, we discussed systemic racism in an effort to dismantle white supremacy. We've had a lot of conversations in the webinars regarding whether that term should be used. Some people feel it continues to promote whites because that word supremacy. So people have also said white crimes, white hatred, white violence. So we're kind of using all those terms to have people think about it from the inside out. Our intention with the webinars is to participate in sustainable action and highlight the voices of Black, Indigenous, and people of color community members, giving them a safe space to be heard about their own experiences, challenges, and hopes without the need to educate white people, and to provide resources to increase everyone's ability to self-educate towards being a more learned participant in the social justice movement. I'm going to be real quick because we want to get to Mike. My name is Jody Lewis again. I am an attorney. I work for a nonprofit agency providing appellate representation for survivors of domestic violence and gender-based violence. And the reason why this work is so important to me is as a white woman, I know that my ancestors and myself have had benefits and advantages due to only our color of skin. And I've been silent for a long time and oblivious for a long time regarding that. And so it's real important for me to become more educated, to host things like this, and to speak out when I can.
Thank you.
Yep.
And I'm Misha Safran, and I am whiter than some and not as white as others. I have had my own experiences with discrimination and racism, and I believe that there is a way to center empathy and emotional intelligence to allow for folks to connect. And I think that really contributes to the inclusion and belonging. And so this webinar has been extremely important to me because I have a huge community. And I mean, Mike and I, we're siblings. We love each other. We are both coaches for the
Amen.
Institute. We're facilitators that help new coaches come into the world. That's our part-time gig, and we love it. We love being with each other. And I also have a lot of other friends and brothers and sisters around the world that are Black, Brown, Indigenous, other people of color who have never felt that they could really truly express their experiences. And this has had a far more successful experience. This has been a far more successful experience in the sense that friends of mine, people I know and love and care about, have been able to say things that they never thought they could say. And so that's why we really stress the safety, wanting to make sure that our guests, our friends are valued for their courage to speak up about things that some people deny exist. Because if it exists for one person, it exists. I've been sexually assaulted. I've been date raped. You can't tell me that I haven't. Okay. I have ancestors that have been murdered because of being Jewish. You can't tell me that it didn't happen. I had a cousin that had numbers on her arm. So there are things that we have to be really cautious of when we negate somebody else's existence and experience. I was a teacher for 30 years. Now I'm a coach and a development trainer and how do I say that? Leadership development and trainer. I'm so new to it that I'm now an author, and I'm super excited about that. But what I really want to share is the beautiful human that we have here on our show tonight. So I'm calling it a show. It's a webinar. I call it a show too.
It's a show.
Everybody, it's a show. So everybody totally, give it up, put some love in the chat or in the comments on Facebook. This is my dear friend and brother, Mike James, Coach Mike James.
I like it.
And Mike James is from Phoenix City, Alabama, by way of Fort Mitchell, Alabama. He graduated from the University of Alabama at Birmingham in 2007 with a bachelor's degree in fitness leadership. While at UAB, Mike met his beautiful girlfriend, Felicia James. And I hear so much beauty about her. And they were married in July of 2009. She totally honors Mike, and Mike honors her. It's so beautiful. I can't wait to meet them in person because we never have. After spending almost 15 years in health and fitness industry, Mike founded P&Z Life Coaching LLC in 2019. He is also a fabulous facilitator for Certified Life Coach Institute, teaching levels 101 and 102. helping new life coaches start their coaching journey. Mike is also a motivational speaker. If you haven't followed him on Instagram, you need to. We'll put all the tags in the chat afterwards, and loves to help people become the best version of themselves. His personal mission, which I will say he does, is to share his light, his love, and his positivity with as many people as he can in the time and space that he has. So Mike James, welcome.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I used to, when I was seeing speakers and different things, because speaking has always been a passion since maybe Sunday school plays, and they say, my name is Mike James, and I just came to say, I mean, little.
I can see that.
I'm telling you. And so I tell people, like, when I study speakers and stuff, I always see when the introductions come out and they either blush or they say, oh, and a lot of times you send in the bios, right? But hearing about yourself when you want to share that so much, it's like, oh, stop. So thank you, Misha, Jody. I'm so elated to be in this space with y'all. This is just an amazing opportunity. And I always say, every interview I do, whether I'm on the interviewer side or the interviewee side, any collaboration, I'm living my mission to share my light, love, and positivity, right? Because in the space, I'm going to bring that. It doesn't matter what the topic is, what it is about, I'm still going to bring light, love, and positivity. So I'm just grateful to be here and thankful to have this opportunity to discuss something that we don't talk about enough because it's too taboo. But guess what? When we don't talk about what we should talk about, someone else controls the narrative.
Right.
And they put the words in our mouths, in our minds of what to talk about. Hey, look, I'm ready to drop myself a few times because I love these type of conversations. They're so important. And Jody, when you were just reading the purpose of why y'all do this, and even when you reached out to me, Misha, and I read about it and I looked on YouTube, that alone could be an excerpt of like a daily affirmation, the purpose and the mission behind what y'all do and why y'all do this, because it's so important now, because that's part of what's going on now. And just to say this, I know we're not into it, but just to say this too, the words, right? Because I know you mentioned some people have said whether or not to use that terminology, white supremacy. But what happens is relatability. Because if we call it anything else, it seems like, oh, it's so much of a buck against the system. And we are talking about systemic items. So let's name it to tame it. White supremacy. If that's what the world sees it as, or if that's what it's been dubbed or titled, let's talk about it. Then we can dismantle it. Because I can't say I have a rodent in my house. They're going to say, what type? Well, I have a bug. Wait, is it a bug or a rodent? Okay, well, what is it? Okay, well, I have a pest. Okay, well, what is it? I have to say, okay, ants. All right, let me get you an ant company. Oh, it's termites? That's a totally different company. Let me direct you to this. So in order for me to dismantle something and put a new in its place, I need to say what it is that I'm talking about. And so myself, because I've heard that and I've battled a lot of different thoughts in my mind over the years, especially the last 10 years. Oh my goodness, a journey. And I say, you know what? No, that's the word. And that's what we're going to call it. And that's what it's known as. Let's talk about it. Let's keep the word there until we replace it with something else. Right. So just wanted to say that.
I think the conversation came up with like, it's okay to use white supremacy, but let's do a semicolon. So supremacy as in white people using their power, their control and over others. Right. And then also white crime, white hatred. So it's kind of like there's white supremacy and a semicolon. This is what these are all the things it means. Right?
I like that.
Like you said, name it to tame it, right?
Yeah.
In order to really kind of change the ability for whites to have the narrative. And we're going to be in the next, what do they say? 40 years, they're going to be the minority. Right. And so it's like, there's a lot of fear going on. That's why they're upright now coming out from under the woodwork. Right. So, but yeah, so I totally agree with you, Mike, and that we have to use the terms that are out there. And I agreed with the guest that we had that said that, but let's define that. What are we talking about?
I love it. I love it.
And as far as not having started yet, we started already. It's on.
I know, well,
we're handing you,
Mike, we're in it. We're in it.
We are in it.
We are already in it, Mike. What do you mean we haven't started? No, that right there is so important to define things, right? Define things for yourself and for others. We are in this pivotal point, and Misha, I do this often when I'm in this space, and I I literally yesterday, today's Sunday. Yes. Yesterday, I had this conversation with family. We're sitting at the table, right? We're doing brunch. And this conversation comes up and I say, listen, what we're seeing is more fear than anything else. It's called survival. We are animals. We are animals. And it's called survivor's instinct of this is something I want all of us to think about in this space because we're here. We're started. Open your hands just like this, right? Everybody do this with me. Misha, you put your right hand down. Wait, your left, you're right.
That's my right
You're
hand.
right. Put it, don't you do it. All right.
Everybody that doesn't know I had shoulder surgery. So
Yes, and recovery. So, all right. So in our hands, what I'm going to do is place the most valuable thing that we have in our lives. I'm going to place everything that we care about that makes us us. Our experiences, the things that we've inherited, the things that when we walk outside, they see, they identify us by. I'm going to put the most valuable, precious thing in our hands right now. And I want all of us to close our hands. Okay. So now we are no longer in this age of, it's this osmosis and everything. We're now in the information age, meaning the information age of Aquarius is being poured out to everybody. We can pick up these little computers we have called phones and search anything, right? So now it's a choice to be ignorant. Okay. So it's right there in front of you. So now we all have this most precious thing. You are coming and you're trying to pry my hands open. Do you know how hard I'm going to fight to keep this in my power? The thing that makes me, the thing that I've inherited for 400,000 of years, maybe. And you're telling me just to share? Really? Whoa, wait a minute. So now what we're seeing is this pulling of I have to keep this. So now I'm going to do stuff that may harm even others because if I don't, well, you're going to take everything that I am. And that's what we're seeing now. Yeah. Is this idea, if I let this go, if I release the stronghold on this thing that has given me the power and the title, even when we say white, that's a misnomer. There is no such thing because none of us on this screen are white. We all have some color, some hue, right? Exactly. And so now construct, nail on the head, right? Misha, our video that we share in one-on-one, right? Nail on the head. Hit the nail on the head. It's a social construct. But guess what's happening in this information age? First of all, Gen Z, Gen A, they're not going for that. They're like, oh, whatever. Now, the younger millennials but this next generation and the next, it's like you can't tell me because I can look it up. So what do I have to do now? I don't need a weapon when I have policy. I don't need to harm you with weapons when I have policy. Because you're still trying to take this from me now. And if we were to go interview every single person in every state, there would not be any red states. But it's the power. It's the changing the goalposts, moving the things that makes it look like, okay, it's still a red. No, that's not the case. So now I have policy. And now I'm going to, let's see what's happening down with my southeastern neighbors in Florida. We have a situation now where we don't want you to teach history.
Right. Yeah.
Because let's take the title off. Let's take Black history off. It's history.
Yeah.
Don't teach history though, because, oh, wait a minute. It wasn't me. It wasn't I didn't do that. No one in my family owned an enslaved individual. You mean to tell me I'm going to send my kids to your school, your learning institution to learn about how horrible my grandparents, my great-great-grandparents. No, what? But what's the problem with that? If it's not you. So in the South, where I'm from, and in the Black community, there's a saying, a hit dog a holler. A hit dog a holler. In other words, a hit dog will holler. And I'm an animal lover. Let me say this disclaimer to everyone out here. I'm an animal lover. So I still have something, y'all, I think about it and it melts my heart. And I'll share this story because I want to say that because I don't want to just throw that quote out there without giving explanation and showing y'all my heart for animals. My dad and we were on the way home from church. I was a daddy's boy, right? My dad was a Southern Pentecostal preacher. And I was daddy's boy. So a lot of times I rode with him, even when nobody else would. We were coming home from Bible study one night, and it was dark, and we turned this little street. Yeah, Misha, I know. I'm sorry, Misha, get your Kleenex. And we had a moment, it hurt him so bad. There was a group of dogs crossing, but running across the street. And I don't know to this day, I don't know like exactly how many was hit or what, but we just heard the barks. And my dad, it was probably one of the few times I saw my dad like shed a tear, and he was trying to hide it from me. And he was so shaken, he couldn't turn back. He just kept going. And he said, "Oh, baby." He was just driving. He said, "Oh, baby." My dad was already older when I came along. My parents were in their 40s when they had me. So by this time, he's like maybe pushing 60. He's, "Oh, baby, I feel so bad." And I was like, "Oh, man." So again, if it's not you, if the shoe fit, wear it. That may be a better saying that I could put here. If the shoe fits, wear it. If it's not you, if it's not the way you feel, then what's the problem with me teaching the next generation? Because if you don't know where you came from, it's easy to go back. And that's the power dynamic and the fear that we're seeing. You're wanting to take away the most precious thing that I have, which is my power or illusion of power, because it's not power. It's not supremacy. I don't have to put you down. If I'm supreme, I don't have to put you down to elevate myself if I'm already there, right? So it's this illusion of power, because literally, if your power comes off the backs of others, then if the backs of others would stand up, you have no table to eat off of. You have no foundation to stand on. So if I can keep you ignorant to the power that you truly have, then my cause speeds on its way. That's, I think, what we're seeing in terms of the dynamic of how hard the fight is to hold on to this interesting seesaw of power, because that's what it is. And to the victor writes the narrative, and that's what's happening. And I don't need a weapon when I have policy, when I have a pen. This is one of the most powerful weapons that we see right now in this information age. If I can control the narrative and what's being put out there in the information, I don't need to tell you how to think. I mean, I don't need to tell you what to do, because I am controlling what you're thinking about, what you're focusing on. You go to sleep thinking about it. Oh my God, the news, everything about our system today is to keep us in this place of true ignorance where we don't know what's true.
Right.
So, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. Those of you who are listening, whether you're on Facebook or watching the replay on YouTube or here in the chat room, Zoom room with us, feel free to put any thoughts that you have in the comments, whether it's a lot, right? So take a deep kind of feel into it. It's interesting, Mike, when you were sharing the story about the dogs. So your dad had a lot of feeling and emotion, as did you, for the pain that was caused. And he kept driving because he couldn't look back because it was so painful, right? And not all whites are this way, but a lot of whites keep driving. A lot of whites keep going forward. And they don't look back, not because it's so painful for, they know they injured somebody or they hurt somebody, but more of like what the fear we're talking about, what's going to be taken away from me, what's going to happen if I address this, what am I going to lose if I face this? And so that's why I feel like it's so important, like you were talking about, you start talking to people. It's not as red as you think, but when you have a collective, right? The bully, you have people who kind of join forces, and that's why, like, you've got something that happens in the street, and that got 10 innocent bystanders, and nobody says anything because somebody thinks somebody else is going to say something, right? And that's why this, ever since George Floyd's murder, has become so much more alive, in the sense that more people are talking about it. While we're making little changes or progressing a little bit, there's more empathy. We saw hatred in that officer's eyes for over, was it 9 minutes and 46 seconds, I think. And when you see that kind of hatred just staring into the camera, you know, and you know, as a Black man, I don't know if you identify as Black or African American.
I do. Yeah.
Okay. It's like I mean, I've seen it. I've seen those dagger eyes at me after 9/11. You know, people witnessed that, but the whole country saw that. The whole world saw that hatred.
Mm-hmm.
And yet people keep walking away. They avert their attention, right? Because it's uncomfortable to say this person's getting hurt and I don't know how to do it. I don't know what my next step is.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just noticing, like listening to your story about the dogs, and I don't want to take too much attention around from what you're saying, but you know, there's just different way people react to the other people who are injured.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I love that description. And even, you know, Misha, even with that, I love that too, because even for those, I think what we normally say is those well-meaning white people, right? Or well-meaning white folks, even that sometimes that is the reason. So let's say it is an ally, a true ally, right? That is anti-racist, right? Then still, exactly, right? So still it's hard to look back because you don't know what the scene is when you get there. And so once you get there, people like you and Jody, right? That's done the work. Now you went through the pain. Because I'm sure at some point when y'all first got on this, the pain happens first when you start to learn stuff that you were never taught, you were never told. They didn't tell us in school. I mean, we have Columbus Day, for goodness sakes, you know? So
Right?
it's not anything that helps us become an anti-racist or anti-white supremacist, right? It's a journey that has to happen at some point. And there's an event or thing, George Floyd, there's something that happens that ignites this shift in your mind. And then I tell people this, and I say it all the time, but a lot of my stuff, even like my acronyms and all that stuff, it has a whole deeper meaning, but I say it over and over because I'm putting my narrative out there of light, love, and positivity. But I say this, the most important journey I feel that all of us can go on is the journey of self-discovery. That's hard because some of the things we talk about in class, right, Misha, you got to deal with the shadow. You got to deal with trauma. You got to deal with a lot of things that ain't nobody told you how to deal with when you go on that journey of self-discovery. Because one of the most powerful things that we have in our being is this person in the mirror. And when you can discover the things, the hurts, the pains, the ignorances, the things that you didn't know, get over the hurt of all the things that you were not told, because with that comes a little bit of frustration at first. When you learn new things, you start reading more and discovering new things, you feel a little disappointed. Because I know for me, wrong side, P and Z, why didn't Prince and Zola tell me this stuff? Oh my God, I feel betrayed. And it's a hurt almost on the edge of anger if you're not grounded, if you're not anchored enough. With no anchor becomes anger. And so for me, I had to realize, wait a minute, Mike. No. Prince and Zola did amazing. What Prince and Zola did was taught you what they knew, what someone else taught them. They were indoctrinated, trained, just like you. But here's an amazing African proverb. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So this may be the spark for someone. They sell this and like, oh my goodness, I need to remove my thoughts and just read a little more. And let me tell you something. I relied heavily on my foundation when this journey started for me. Everything really kicked off for me maybe 2014 to 2016. Where it was just a lot. I mean, from every single aspect of life was a peeling of the layers of the onion. And when I say every, I mean spiritually, mentally, socially, physically, financially, all these things where I went on this journey. And it was, it was a journey. I mean, it was a 4x4 off-road. I think an Ace Ventura bouncing all over the place. It was rough. It was not smooth sailing. And a lot of people are fearful even of going on that journey because I don't know what's around that corner. Fear, right? I don't know what I'm going to walk into or learn about myself, the very fabric of my being. And so when we're talking about these conversations and systemic racism and white supremacy, we're talking about something in a matter of an hour and a half, 2 hours, a matter of a lunch date that has been established over years, hundreds, if not even thousands of years. We are living in a world that's built upon war and money and sex and a lot of other things, the very things that we are taught is bad. That's what drives the very world that we're occupied. And so somewhere the lines, the wires are getting crossed up, and it's going to take the people with the mentality to speak out. And this is maybe forward thinking, right? At the end, because we have these conversations, then it's okay, what's the steps forward? I say the first thing is educate yourself, right? And I love that even in the mission, educate yourself, because what's the word I'm looking for? How twisted is it of me to come to someone that I kicked and say, tell me why that bothered you, that I kicked you for 400 years. Teach me my ways. You kicked me. What do you mean?
We tell people, please don't ask your Black friends something you can ask Google. Please
Oh my goodness.
Please don't do that.
Robin DiAngelo, White Fragility.
Yes.
That book. Like you're talking about, you're going to someone, you're going to the oppressed to help you learn about your oppression. What? How does that make sense? No, find it in a book. That is so, and that's one of the things that causes more of this, right? Because what I experienced, right? I think there was these different worlds of what happened with George Floyd, right? And we all had our different experiences that, again, like you said, Misha, no one can change your experience. No one can tell you that didn't happen. But for me, this is when I'm still working, or starting everything with my job and stuff. But I remember years back, more stuff came up for me when I was working as a personal trainer. I did that for 15 years. And I tell people I was blessed to, when I was personal training, work with higher economic status quo individuals. What did that mean? Most times white, right? And that was a blessing because I made more money than just going from gym to gym to gym, But at the same time, those were some of the hardest times, because to feel like every day you're not seen, right? You can be the Black friend, I have. Let me say this too. Please do not say my best friend is Black. Please, dude. It's certain things that are also triggering as well, because it's almost like, I say this, when I fall out with somebody, when I fall out with an individual, I say this, when I'm talking to a mutual connection, I do not, and this is just Mike speaking, I do not want to trash the person I fell out with to make that mutual connect see my side of the story. If I do apply the golden rule as well as the Bambi doctrine. In Bambi, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all. And so in a lot of situations, unless we're just talking about things, I don't want to tear anyone down to prove my point. And so that almost is akin to that, when it's, let me get the light off of me really quick. So let me say, hey, my friend, I was the Black friend. And guess what? I wasn't going to their houses. I wasn't eating lunch with them. I wasn't going to the country clubs with them. I was just their trainer that they saw for 1 hour, 3 times a week. And I became the Black friend. Oh, let me tell you about my Black friend. He's so well-spoken and so articulate. And the problem is, with anyone else, they can just be my friend. He's an awesome guy. I don't have to put the disclaimers. My neighbor doesn't have to be, oh, my neighbor's so well-spoken, because it's normal. Oh, it's normal. It's abnormal for you to be a well-spoken, educated Black guy. What? But guess what? We're talking about stories as well. Guess what that well-spoken, educated Black guy doesn't shield him from? American society sees me as a big Black guy, a muster. We see it time and time again. A young Black man gets murdered by the cops or law enforcement, and instantly He was a thug. He was this, gang activity. We're seeing it right now. This hero just stood up. This awesome hero veteran just stood up. This is what our lawmakers and politicians are saying for those of us who don't want to exercise our right to vote. This hero exercised his heroism and murdered this individual on a train who was not a threat. What?
Yeah.
That's the narrative that we are forced to believe. So again, I don't get to be a young Black man. When I was 19, 20, 22, 23, 24 years old, I didn't get to be this young Black man who's working on his career as a personal trainer. Because when I walk out of that gym, I'm just another Black guy. I could be a monster. I'm a threat. So guess what it didn't save me from? It didn't save me from, I'm going to give y'all two stories briefly, and I'll share them as briefly as I can, but I want to paint the picture.
Got all the time you need.
Two different stories, and both has to do with law enforcement. In fact, I want to tell you three. Here's the first one. The first story dealing with law enforcement. I had an old 1992 Toyota Camry. I'm a Toyota man, drive a Toyota now. Had an old 1992 Toyota Camry. And what that meant was Betsy was her name. I miss Betsy. Betsy was her name. What that meant was Betsy needed a little bit more time to warm up. In the wintertime, you just can't jump in and go. It's a Toyota, so it's still rolling, right? 100, 200,000 miles. But Betsy needed a little bit more time to warm up. So my wife and I think, yeah, we were married. We're leaving my sister's house in Columbus, Georgia. And I had to warm up the car. So we're sitting in the car, warming up the car. Police rides by, leaves, right? We're sitting, rides by again, stops, looks, and I'm, here I am. I get the talk, right? The talk. So I'm sitting straight up, make sure I'm not making any moves, it's wintertime, please. That's a feeling that a lot of people don't have to experience on a daily. Sirens can mean safety to someone. Siren means my gut is coming out of my stomach because I don't know what's on the other end of this interaction. So I'm sitting up straight, boom, boom, boom. We pull out of my sister's neighborhood. Before we get a mile down the street on the main street, we're pulled over. What's the narrative? What were you doing in the car? Warming up my car. Well, watch this. Now this, I'm gonna say this calm because this makes me still to this day makes me say, if I knew this individual, if somebody could just put us in a boxing ring for 5 minutes. Anyway,
my nostrils flared, already feeling the
listen, I'm telling you, look, it's steam. I'm glad I have on headphones, Misha and Jody, because steam would come out of my ears when I tell this. He said these words. Well, tell your passenger not to be crouched down at different stuff. And we never know what's going on. We don't know the safety or whatever. Like, whoa. I said, hold on. And so at that point, Felicia knows, like, okay, you just pissed him off. So she's like grabbing at my pant leg, like, calm down, baby. And I'm like, he said, I wasn't born yesterday, something. I said, I wasn't born yesterday either. And you're not going to insinuate something happened that didn't take place. By that time, I'm really, okay, that's one incident. That's it. That just wanted to tell you, here's another. I'm going to save the best one for last. That's the worst one, by the way. Here's another one. Driving 65. 65 is a very busy highway, one of the main highways in Birmingham, Alabama. And driving 65, and I'm seeing cops. It's like cop day or something. I don't know. So I get over to the outside lane and people are merging. And I can't stand the people that drive in the right lane when people are trying to merge on the highway. If that's you, get out of the way. People got to get on the highway. What are you doing? Over, especially if it's not a car there.
I love how you lean into the camera to make
I'm making sure they see me. If that's you, stop that. So I move over, right? Just driving. Misha, Jody, I'm looking at my dashboard because I don't want to speed. They're out. We had just passed one. I'm looking at my dashboard one of the cops is riding kind of in front, slams on brakes, gets behind us, throws on the lights, pulls us over. And so I'm okay. I got to talk. So I know hands in the position, assume the position, right? Okay, I'm biased. So this is the look of confusion on my face. Like, how you doing, officer? He's no greeting, no anything, no reverence of I'm paying your freaking salary. Respect me. I don't have to respect you. You're to protect and serve, not bully and harass. The first words out of his mouth. While you looking like that, I clocked you going blah, 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 this and that. From behind, he clocked me behind him, in front of me. I clocked you going. So I said, no, sir, that's not, cut me off. License registration. Goes to the vehicle, blah, blah, blah. I'm sitting there. And Felicia's like, Felicia's a Jersey girl, military girl. And she's like, what is he talking about? Maybe some other explicatives. And we're sitting there like, what in the world is his deal? Comes back to the truck. And I don't know if I got a ticket or whatever, but this horrible attitude. And that replays in my mind, right? There's replays in my mind. And y'all, I'm going to tie these stories up real nice. It's going to be a bow that y'all ain't ready for. Oh, this is exciting. And I didn't practice this, by the way. So that's number 2 experience, right? And we just left so confused. We were probably puzzled and quiet all the way home. Like, what just happened? I made a Facebook post about that, and someone mentioned, was it so-and-so, officer so-and-so? Oh, he's horrible. I've had a run-in with him. I was in the motorcycle community at the time. Oh, yeah, he's pulled us over, this and that. Like, wow, a whole line of us. Okay, here we go. Here's number 3 right here. Now, I'm telling y'all 3 experiences. I've had so many odd situations with law enforcement, but I'm just telling y'all these 3 because they stand out to me in my mind. This one is a little bit more tough. So again, I used to ride motorcycles, my wife and I did kickball. We did intramural kickball, and we would go out after and eat and hang out and all that stuff. So drink, all kind of stuff. When I'm on my bike, I'm the DD and the security, making sure my friends don't get too sloppy, right? It kind of like make sure they don't get into it. So, because that was just nothing I ever even thought about doing on a motorcycle, right? So, park my motorcycle, having a good time like normal. I was actually going to maybe get ready to leave, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, I put my bag and my book bag and my gear, jacket and everything in my friend's car that was parked right in front of my motorcycle. So y'all, I'm getting ready to leave. Yeah, I was leaving for the night. I walk across the street, and right there, the spot where my bike is gone. And my heart. And now here's another part about the biker community, especially sports bike. Yeah, I see the little emoji pop up. Y'all, it's gone. That was the face I had. Like, I stood there for probably about 5 minutes. I think my friend thought I had left already. I stood there like, it's right here. Now I will say this really quick. I had 2 motorcycles stolen in my 12, 13 years of riding. I had 2 motorcycles. So this is the first time. So y'all, it was my baby too, y'all. It was my dream. I got my Honda CBR 1000 double R, and where's my bike? I'm walking back across the street like a little puppy with the tail tucked between his legs. I go in, I call my friend's name. I say, my bike is gone. I can't even get the words. I got to get my stuff out. I got to call. I called 911 already, right? She starts crying and like, oh my God. Feeling bad. Like, well, if I hadn't asked you to come with us tonight, it probably been like, no. So we walk to the car, wait on the cops to get there. Here we go. Cops responding to the scene of theft of property. What was in my bag as a person, a Black man, I carry, right? Legally. So, Alabama, Wild Wild West, Wild Wild South, open carry, but I have a permit also. So I theft the property. I don't know where they are. I don't know if they're coming back. I holstered it on my hip, right? I'm on public street, right? So the cop comes up. We're talking or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Now, Alabama, again, the Southeast, the Wild, Wild West is you can go in Publix and you see it, right? You can see it anywhere, just open. It's like, this is a little too comfortable for my liking. He walked up, he was doing the report and talking. His eyes beelined to my weapon, right? And I'm going to use very good terminology here. His eyes beeline to my weapon. It just, I guess, threw him off. Now we're having a good conversation. He's doing the report and all that. I guess it just threw him off. Oh, it's a black man in front of me with it. He put his hand on my shoulder. He said, sir, excuse me. No instruction. He said, sir, excuse me, and reaches and takes my holster out of my belt clip, takes my weapon, puts it on his vehicle, takes it off my person, puts it on his vehicle with no explanation. He just said, sir, turn my body to the side so he can get to it, put it on his vehicle, right? Then he came back and said, I need to remove that for my safety, blah, 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 blah. And this. So I'm in shock, but I'm letting it process. While he's talking, I'm letting his do his thing because de-escalation 101, don't add fuel to fire. I see how this threw you off. Now your face is red. Okay, boom. He finished doing his report. I said, officer, I have a question for you. Yes, sir. Were you operating under your practices and procedures properly by removing my weapon off of my person like that? The language got him. He looked, he was confused. I said, officer, I said, were you operating under your practices and procedures properly by removing my weapon off my person in the way that you did? I look at my friend out of the corner of my eye. My friend is like, oh God, Mike's here. I'm really about framework and doing things the right way and treating people right. And when it doesn't happen, I go there. So he gets up, he gets riled up and, well, I had to, in order for me to do this and for our safety, and that's officer, that's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you, were you in your rights to do that? Listen, what do you want me to do? You want to do my job? And I'm thinking, wait, you're responding to a theft of property, a vehicle, thousands of dollars or something. What? So he goes back to the car to write up everything and blah, blah, blah. We're standing there. You can see us clearly. Another car comes up.
That's what I figured.
Behind us.
Yep.
Wow.
Another car, unmarked, comes up in it was a adjacent parking lot across from us, comes up with its lights off, facing us, stays there. You can see two individual heads. Now, my head is always on the swivel. I'm watching, right? My friend is like, Mike, calm down. I said, you see, I'm calm, but you know I'm right. Yeah, I know. He comes back. I say, what's your supervisor? Because while he's doing what he's doing, I'm on my call because my fraternity, a lot of my fraternity brothers from my university and others are sheriffs, were police officers in the community, Birmingham, Jefferson County. I call one. I said, this just happened. Call two. I called a sheriff and I call a police officer. They said, ask for the supervisor immediately when he comes back. He's walking up. I said, officer, can you give me your supervisor? What do you need that for? Can you give me your supervisor? I'm just trying to do my job. Blah, 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 blah. I was going to say this out of anger, but I won't. He was a smaller guy. He was a smaller stature guy. Like I'm only 5'8" and I'm looking kind of at his head, the top of his head. What do you need that for, bro? Officer, can you please give me your supervisor's number? Oh, so you want? This is when he lost it, y'all. He started cursing. It wasn't like derogatory towards him, but he's cursing, blah, blah, blah. I look at my friend, she's crying. I said, officer, you are so disrespectful. It's a young woman here. You're responding to something happened with me. Yes, I still want your supervisor. Do y'all know the only thing that calmed him down? The only thing that calmed him down was when I name dropped one of my fraternity brothers that was his coworker at that precinct. After all this, you turning all, making a scene out of nothing. After all that, the other officers now standing adjacent to us in a position where we're cornered now. And he comes back, and this is what he did. A lot of times, especially when, and it's important for any allies or anyone to know, it should not be absolution that you seek, right? It should be the alliance. It should be the help, but not absolution. It doesn't absolve you from what happened. So this is what he did. He came back and he's holding the report like a carrot and like, okay, like almost like grab out, but I'm not going to let it go, release it yet. And this is what he said. Now he's calm because I name dropped his coworker that had seniority over him. Now, do you understand why I did that? I had to do that for the safety of myself and blah, 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 the situation and this and that. He gave me some sob story. We do this and this and that. So you do understand, right? And it was like kind of with the, an authoritative voice. And I looked and I heard my friend exhale like, oh, no, because she knew what was coming out. I said, no, sir, absolutely not. What do you mean? Well, I had to. I said, sir, if we're done here, let's be done. How do I make a report? What do you mean? How do I make a report? Okay, awesome. Well, you have to get there. Fast forward. I get there early, that next morning, right? Get there. And guess who's sitting at the front desk? Because he was finishing his shift. He's doing whatever, maybe playing solitaire or something, because, they're so busy protecting and serving, probably playing solitaire. He looks up and his world dropped. And I saw his initial reaction. But when I got there, he was like, hey, how are you doing today? Good morning. How can I help you? I said, you know how you can help me. I'm here to make the report. You just saw me a few hours ago. Oh, you really want to make the report? Now he's friendly. Oh, you really wanted to make the report? Okay. Yeah, I'm here to see the supervisor. I'm here to see officer blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, it may be a while because we're about to end shift. Can you get him? They made me wait 30, 40 minutes. He finally came out, supervisor. We're about to switch shifts and we're going to have to do this and what you're going to have to do. We'll get the other supervisor if you still want to follow through this. Oh, yeah. Finally, speak to the next supervisor. So the report's been filed, blah, 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 blah. Now you got to go to the main precinct. Leave there, go to the main precinct. Put me in the waiting game again. When I get to the main precinct, seniority. It's a city, inner city. So who's over both of them? A Black man. Who has the power, who runs everything. But when something goes wrong, we can say the inner city has problem. And it's Black. It's Democrat-led cities. That's where all the problems are. But who has the power? He talked to me, well, Mr. James, blah, blah, blah. I said, no, we're not going to do, that was horrible. Okay, after a 45-minute conversation, we're going to get him sensitivity training and blah, 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 and some time off without blah, 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 blah. So I say all that to say this. Now let's rewind. What happened? What I didn't say is that my friend was white, a white young woman. I don't know what thoughts came to his mind when he pulled up. This smaller guy, see this Black man. Look at me, beautiful Black man with this beautiful white boy. Oh God, alarming. Because you know why? Y'all remember what I just said? I can walk in Publix and see weapons, all kind of stuff like, oh my God, knives. I see knife. To open your knife, the blade should not, I know the law. I have to. I'm a Black man in the South. The blade should not be longer than the palm of your hand. I see blades almost long as somebody's hip. Nothing is said, but a Black man with his motorcycle stolen, wants to put on his weapon to report himself. Guess what else the supervisor told me? The unmarked car that you saw, those were detectives. They were undercover. They're in the area to stop theft.
Where were they an hour ago?
Where's your motorcycle?
Yeah.
What the do you mean they're in the area to stop theft? So that's what I'm saying. Those three incidents. Now here's the bow that I said I would tie on all these three stories, because I'm glad those three stories took a good amount of time. The bow that I'm going to wrap on this, if I were to give y'all a guess, how many of those officers were white? Y'all know one already, because I said he turned red. How many of those officers were white out of those three experiences?
Well, I
I was
imagine
gonna say all of them.
but yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Here's the bow. One.
Hmm.
Those other two stories, both black officers.
Mhm.
So, Mike, why are you saying this? So, oh, it is true. Y'all hate yourselves. And it's black on black. No, no, no.
No, no, no.
What I'm saying is this. What we're talking about here, a candid conversation about systemic racism.
Yes.
It ain't the color of the skin, it's the system.
Right.
Until we figure out a way to dismantle the system, it doesn't matter how you operate. And I fell out with some fraternity brothers because there's different things, especially George Floyd and different things. Because I'm like, listen, how long can I swim with the pigs without getting mud on me? And that's not a derogatory statement. I'm saying pigs, they wallow in mud. And pigs are intelligent animals, by the way, everyone. But how long can I wallow with the pigs before I get mud on me without speaking up? And that's the point that I was making a lot of times. And I told that fraternity brother, I called you. How do y'all sit around and watch that? And here's the analogy I give even to them. I say, listen, we're in a fraternity. You're my fraternity brother. If something happened at a party, a frat party, if something happened with I'm not snitching. I'm telling on you, and I'm a bust your head before. Period. Because one thing I'm not going to allow in my presence is disrespect of a woman or child. And I say all the time, I don't play about my black women and children. Don't do it around me. Get somebody else to do it, because I ain't the one. I don't have the temperament to be calm when I see a woman or child attacked. And so that right there is one of those things. It's the system. It doesn't matter. You're trained into a system. And it's just like a lot of our institutions have trained us to assimilate into this white supremacist racist society. And when I say all of our institutions, I mean all. Yes, church, school, politics, all of them train us, indoctrinate us to assimilate, not to dismantle. And so that's why it's so hard when we get to this point of how do we do this? Because we've been doing it all our lives to be trained to go with the status quo.
Yeah, and there's no accountability.
Oh,
When we look at particular police department, I was just reading about the Mott Haven protests, which happened in New York City, Bronx area, but looking specifically, there was analysis of the police department and never held accountable, or very few officers are held accountable for very violent acts against, in this case, it was against protesters. And when they do get disciplined, and the system, I don't want to get into it right now just because of time, but they lost vacation days. Going to keep them, they lost vacation days.
Those were white officers, right?
It was a mixture.
Okay, because we think about the 5 black officers that beat up that 18-year-old kid, they got suspended right away without pay.
Yeah.
So that's also a system. I mean, yes, within the system, you've got officers of all different colors, right? Race, racial construct, whatever, who are stuck in a system where it's the good old guy, right? The Proud Boys, and then we've got the gun. But the ones that are going to get the punish the fastest are the ones of color.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right? I mean, it took how long to I mean, we still don't even, I forgot the name of the person, but anyway, so yeah, so it's like there's so much inequality around even how they are punished or how they commanded and their accountability.
And the last thing I say, because when you said that, Jody, it made me think about too. It's just here recently. It was something I was watching, and they were talking to a white supremacist who were part of one of those groups, and this came up like, yes, they're doing what they were created to do. They are protecting and serving white property, white power. And I ain't talking about the group. They are doing what they were created to do, protect and serve what they are made to protect and serve. And he mentioned this. He said, listen, we don't care. We show up, we do what we do. When you see a protest, who are the officers facing? They're not facing the white supremacist group. They face the protesters, the peaceful protesters.
Yep.
They get to be protected, right? And it's like, I never thought about that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Like, why are you not neutrally looking at both? No, we face. And so I thought about that. It's like, wow, oh my goodness. So it's established this system. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do. And that's why I always say this is the tough pill to swallow until we destroy the system, whatever that looks. Do I know what it looks like? No, I do not. But until we destroy the system, we will continue to have these same problems, because now we're living in what will happen from that. The buck of losing that power is so strong and ferocious that a lot of things are happening in hyper speed now, dismantling. You mean to tell me you can't talk about, oh, now we got to say indentured servants, enslaved individuals, they came for a better opportunity. We still have Columbus Day on the calendar. What in the world are we talking about? But then we want to say, oh, let's just be kind and love one another's bullshit, because that's not what you really feel. Because if you did, you will dismantle the things that stand for hate. I'm in Alabama. Do you know how hard it was to get some of these statues and hatred things symbolizing the things that happened to my ancestors, to see that as a reminder? Do you know how hard the pushback was? Do you know the questions I got? Well, Mike, what is it? It's just really because my grandfather fought. He fought in the war. He was a Confederate and blah, blah, blah. I don't give a damn what your grandfather was. It's not that he was a bad person. He was fighting for a horrible system that would kill people that look like me and my family. So it's a lot of stuff that, people just are not willing to deal with. And somehow it makes me lesser. No, it makes me bigger because I'm willing to face this and do something about it. That's powerful. That's amazing. When you say, I'm looking at this, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Whoa. You know how powerful that is to take ownership of something that happened, even if you weren't directly connected to it, you still benefit from it. And this is the last thing I'll say, and I'll let you take. Misha, when we did our impactful conversation last week, it was so beautiful. People are still telling me how awesome you are, by the way.
Aww.
And I want to say this, Misha, you said something that I was like, oh, now this is Misha's impactful conversation. So I don't want to say it, but I'll say it next week. You said something that stood out to me. You said, even like with this, the webinar and stuff, y'all share, especially with white people, that your feelings won't kill you. Or how did you word it? I think you said that
you said you got to name it to tame it. And
yes.
And then I was going to bring this up earlier, talking about people's discomfort, right? When we stretch, we got to feel it to heal it.
Yes.
Our feelings won't kill us. They will not kill us unless we sit in it. I mean, I'm someone who suffers from depression, and I can let those feelings ruminate enough that I want to, say, well, I don't need to be here. But I think the challenge with the people who are feeling so much fear is that they take that fear and react with anger and violence. They just realize that fear is just because they're afraid of losing their teddy bear, or they're afraid of losing their land, and it's false evidence appearing real. Right? And so, so that's what we had talked about.
So Misha, here it is.
Yeah.
This is what I want to say. Oh, I can say this. That's what I was thinking. Oh, I can say this because I was like, that sat with me. Your feelings won't kill you. But guess what? When you are at the top of this made up construct of a system, in a white supremacist system, if you're at the top, i.e. a white person, guess what? Your feelings won't kill you, but it could kill someone who looks like me.
Exactly.
Because when I make that call, this big black guy's outside of the...
That's right.
No questions asked. When I get there, I'm protecting your feelings. So it's on spot. It's on spot when I get there. Oh my goodness, what just happened? Well, I don't know. He called and said that they were being loud and aggressive and doing this. I got to the scene and I responded the best way I know. I felt threatened. My life was threatened. Whoa, wait. So again, when you said that, it stuck with me and I was like, yes, that is so true. Your feelings won't kill you, but they can kill someone that is not anyone in the minority, whether
Well, we
it's
just created a bumper sticker, the two of us.
boom.
Feelings won't kill you, but they will kill other people.
Yes, exactly. But they can kill someone else. And that's important. That's
He's gonna do it. He's gonna do it.
that's the mic drop right there. That's boom. That's the mic drop moment. Ah, man.
So,
Oh.
Mike, first of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing 3 very upsetting stories that you've experienced, 3 of many.
Mhm. Ooh.
And thank you for being the sweet love, light, and positivity in my life. And now I'm so glad you got to meet Jody.
Yes, Jody.
But I don't want people to leave without, because so for people who are new to our webinars, we offer our panelists either a stipend to go to a charity of their choice or to promote their business. And I love Mike's business. I love what Mike does. He's very good at what he does, as you all probably can tell. So please tell people about your business, how they can find you, what kind of client you work best with, so that you can help more people, because that's what you do.
Awesome. Thank you, Misha and Jody. So P&Z Life Coaching. So I am a transformation and youth coach. The only reason I separate it because I want people to know that I do work with the youth. But if you have a teen around you in any way, you know that every day is a transformation or a transition. So what I do is I partner with those who feel lost or stuck to unlock their power, tap into their power, and gain their 5 C's. What is that? I want each and every individual with the desire to become capable, competent, confident, conscious, and courageous to achieve greatness and welcome that better version of themselves. So for me, it's all about, let's see if we can shine the light on those areas, those tough things that you haven't had those conversations with yourself to welcome that better version. Notice how I'm wording that, welcome. I don't want you to chase. I don't want you to go, if you're chasing something, that means it's fleeing you. And for all my pet parents out there, when little Fido gets out and you chase, it's like, oh, it's game on. Oh my God. And you give up because I've ran 2 miles. They keep going and they turn the other street and you walk back to the house. And just when you thought Fido's gone, Fido comes up. Are we done? Oh, you stopped chasing me. Oh, I thought it was a game. So stop chasing and welcome that better version of yourself. So that's what I do. And Misha and Jody, if y'all would allow me, I want to do my closing that I do in every video and everything that I do, because I want people to really get this light, love, and positivity. So here's my closing.
Push it down your throat.
Period. So here's my closing. Murphy's Law. And that's my 8th grade homeroom teacher, Miss Murphy. Shout out to Miss Murphy. Oh, it did my heart so well because for years we were not connected and she was still living, thank God, because she even taught my older siblings. She was still living. We took a picture. She looked amazing. And I even wrote a blog about it. But anyway, Murphy's Law, you are somebody. Today, you are great. Tomorrow, you will be greater because Miss Murphy said so, and I concur. My 3 W's, the universe is aligned to give you what you want, will, and work for in that order. Want it, will it, get into your will, your subconscious, work for it, watch the puzzle pieces fall out of thin air just for you. My 5 P's, let your power give you a passion that will ping you to your purpose. And once you plan properly, experience prosperity. That is in all aspects of life. Know that you can do all those things, everything I said to this point. Why? Because you are the 5 C's, baby. And yes, I'm the 5 C's coach. You are capable, competent, confident, conscious, and courageous to do any and everything that you seek to do in this life. Now, once you have these candid conversations, once you do all that work, go on that journey of self-discovery, embody those 5 C's, the 5 P's, the 3 W's, Murphy's Law, it's nothing but one thing left to do. Keep going, keep grinding, keep showing, keep shining. You go and grind for you. If you don't do it, if you don't get up, get out, get something, nothing's going to happen. Now you're welcoming it, but you're planting the seeds. You're watering every day with every single action that you take. So go and grind for you. Show and shine for the haters. Show and shine for the people who said you couldn't do it. Show and shine for the imposter syndrome, the little voice in your head that you won't talk back to, that keeps saying, are you sure you want to do this? Are you the one for this? Show and shine. So keep going, keep grinding, keep showing and keep shining. As always, God loves you, so do I. And I want y'all to love life, live love, peace together, not apart. That's it. That's my wait.
Yeah, do it again. Do it again.
Boom.
See why I love you?
Oh, I love you, Misha. This is awesome.
All right, this is what we're
Thank
going to
you so
do.
much.
I want to make sure we honor your time and everybody else is here.
I got time.
Yeah, Desiree had a question, but she
No,
might have
his
already
links,
left.
Mike's links.
Oh yeah, Mike, put your links in the comments. with
Oh, yes.
the
Thank
website
you.
and
Y'all,
everything.
I am at Coach Mike James everywhere. At Coach
Yeah.
Mike James. And I'm
Okay.
going to put my link, type it just like this. When you do share it, it just auto-corrected me. I don't need you auto-correcting my stuff, Zoom. I know what I was trying to type. When you type it just like that into, and that's a link, that is my link that has my website, my YouTube. You can go see Misha and I's conversation last week. Everything that right there is the link. If you click on that, and I'm Coach Mike James everywhere: TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Alignable, blah, 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 on and on and on. If you don't find at Coach Mike James when you type it into whatever system you're on, I'm not there, period. But
I
everywhere
was like,
else,
wait a minute, but you're everywhere.
I'm at Coach Mike James.
All right, here's what I'm gonna do. So we're gonna stop the live stream. We're gonna stop the recording. So let's say goodbye to everybody on Facebook. Goodbye to everybody on YouTube. And I'm gonna stop that